Oh my god, look at it! Oh, Pichu! Oh, this is so great! Gotcha, Pichu. It feels like the Pokemon are right here. Poofalin butt. Oh, the Bidoof! Oh, they're just so cute. Let's throw things at them. Oh, I'm so glad this game supports VR. Oh, score, bunny! I'll come here. Whoa, that thing looks huge when it stands up. Oh, damn it! Yeah, we have a problem, and it's not the green screen effect I just used, it's not me actually being in bed. No, it's a fact that new Pokemon Snap, which is really good by the way, doesn't take advantage of the one accessory most perfectly befitting a game in the history of ever not actually utilized by that game, being the Labo VR Toy-Con Camera. Now, in case you haven't played with the thing before, this is basically Nintendo's version of a VR headset, letting you look into the goggle portion in order to see a full 3D world that takes place all around you, in which it actually does do some limited head tracking where you can rotate around and see the world from a variety of different degrees. And what's cool in the Toy-Con's case, or Labo VR's case, is the goggle portion actually plugged into a variety of different Toy-Cons, in this case a camera, which were perfectly befitting of the games that were designed with them. In this case, it was an underwater picture-taking game, much in the vein of Pokemon Snap, which let you zoom in or out, as you saw in my little demonstration. You could throw bait by pressing down on the control stick to lure creatures closer to you, and the gameplay was very much like Pokemon Snap, where you could, the goal is to take pictures of all the sea life in order just to catch them all, basically. And in that case, it was a really convincing effect, and it was just a very effective, very fun game, only of limited replayability, which again I think lends itself really well to Pokemon Snap. Now beyond that though, there's another Labo VR game that also showcased a very similar type of gameplay, being the Blaster game, in which case I don't have it with me right now, but the goggles plug into a blaster and you are actually put onto this automatically moving vehicle in which you can spin at 360 degrees and shoot at enemies all around you. So you take that gameplay, you being on a vehicle, 360 degree based, combine it with a camera. What do you have? You have new Pokemon Snap, where you are in a vehicle traveling along a preset path, shooting pictures or taking pictures of Pokemon using a camera. So now that we've established that the very core new Pokemon Snap's gameplay should work just fine in VR thanks to Labo VR's very own minigames, which are very similar to new Pokemon Snap, I thought it'd be fun to break down a few more of the intricacies of new Pokemon Snap's gameplay and how the controls could actually be mapped to the camera and what they could add to the actual game. So first off, of course, is a shutter button, which would be assigned to L, just like in Labo VR's own games, which actually feels like you're pressing a shutter in a camera when you're looking through it. Again, I can't stress just how perfect this is. Anyways, so yeah, that's a shutter button, easy. Next though is the coolest thing, I think, being the ability to zoom in and out in an analog fashion by rotating the actual lens. And you even get that satisfying clicking sound and feel as you do it. And this would add immensely to the game, because right now you can only zoom in and out in a digital fashion. You just press a button, you zoom into a set amount, and you release it to zoom back out. It works, but it's not that fun or engaging, and I think having an analog amount of freedom or of control over it would add so much to it, letting you vary how much you're zooming in or out with a subtle rotation of the lens. So that's the biggest thing that the Labo VR Toy-Con would add beyond just adding VR. Next is a fact that in Pokemon Snap, you have quite a few more things you can do to interact with the Pokemon beyond just throwing bait like you could in the Labo VR underwater photography game. Now, in that game though, you would use a control stick to throw bait. I think you could use any direction if I remember correctly. And that's because the buttons themselves here, although accessible, aren't that easy to reach, nor easy to read when using, when holding the camera to your face. And the joystick is actually the far easier thing to reach beyond just a shutter button. And I think that's actually the way to go here with assigning the multiple functions in the game, which includes throwing fruit, or throwing orbs, the light orbs, or activating music. And I think assigning each of those to a direction on the control stick just makes a lot of sense. So in this case, I would keep the fluff fruit or apples on down on the control stick, but that is the easiest to reach. The second easiest step down is left, which I would assign to the Illumino orbs, which are the things you probably use second most. Next, for music, which you make the Pokemon dance to whatever you're playing, I would assign to right on the control stick, which I found to be the next easiest direction. Now you might think that the fourth function I haven't mentioned yet, being the ability to scan, would go on up. And that would work. I found that up is probably the hardest one to easily access while holding the camera to your face. So I found a better idea, I think, for it. And that's how you would pause in the original game, which had this incredibly clever mechanic, which you would double tap the top of the Toy-Con itself, right where Mark says. You would just double tap that to pause it, in which case I think it would be better used for the scanners. Just double tap that, you send out the scan, and it feels like kind of like a high-tech way of even activating it. That I think would actually be kind of fun. Beyond that, the only other thing really is pause, which you can, I think, assign to the minus button there easily enough, or any of the face buttons, it wouldn't really matter. And of course, when it comes to movement, you would just rotate or move the camera itself, obviously, as I showcased in our little demo there. So I believe that covers all the core controls, that I can think of offhand. And I really do think this would make the game so much more fun. And not just fun, but immersive. Like, I know this looks silly. It's a toy camera made of cardboard, but it's surprisingly effective in how well it works, especially with how legitimate the VR presence feels. Some of my favorite moments in VR has still been delivered through this, and I have an Oculus Quest 2. I played Half-Life Alyx. It's a great game, but this has been just such a fun little thing because it does something that no other VR device really does, and that's custom made for these games basically. And this is a freaking camera. It feels like a camera. The camera I'm looking at you right now looks very much like this. So it's such a missed opportunity that they have not taken advantage of this, because yes, the resolution is low. It's not necessarily the best VR device, of course, but it's a fun one, and I think it really would add to the experience where, as you saw in my little mock-up, seeing these Pokemon, seemingly in full-size, life-size in front of you would be really cool. Like seeing an Onyx Tower in front of you, or even the Doduo or Dotrio, it would just look so impressive, and having the level of depth and separation, especially the foes were actually taken in 3D too, where you can actually look back at them in 3D. I just think it would add so much to the game, as we've already seen in some other games augmented with VR after the fact, such as Breath of the Wild, which some people weren't huge fans of. Once I got over the initial learning curve, so to speak, I loved it, added so much to it. But with this being a first-person game, it seems like it would make even more sense, particularly again when we have a freaking camera. So part of the reason why I wanted to make this video is because a few days ago I made a tweet about this very subject. Why doesn't new Pokemon Snap use the accessory seemingly perfect for it? And I thought the tweet would do whatever, maybe get a few dozen likes if I was lucky. No. But at the time of this recording, it has received 21,000 likes. 21,000 people agreed with me. So Nintendo, why doesn't the game support it? It's not too late. Again, as we've seen with other games like Mario Odyssey or Breath of the Wild or Captain Toad, you can add it as an update. Now, it's been well over a year since you've done anything with Labo VR, but it's not too late. This is it. This is how you could bring it back. This is how you could let people enjoy, give new life to Labo VR through new Pokemon Snap. So please, Nintendo, let new Pokemon Snap support VR. I don't care if it's Labo VR or any VR accessory, just make it happen. But that's enough about what I want. What do you all think? Do you agree with me and the 20,000 plus other people that liked my tweet? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments below. Or, better yet, tweet about it yourself and use the hashtag GottaPokemonSnapVR. That's right, hashtag GottaPokemonSnapVR. I'd love to know what you think, and tweet about that if you want to see Nintendo update new Pokemon Snap to support the Labo Toy-Con Camera or any form of VR, because it really is such a missed opportunity that I think needs to be rectified. So please, Nintendo, add it, I implore you. And with that, I'm basically done here. So everyone, thank you so much for watching my video. If you like this video, click the subscribe button and ring that bell. And of course, stay tuned to Game Explained for more on new Pokemon Snap VR, including, hopefully one of these days, an update about a VR update, and everything else Nintendo as well. With that, I'll catch you later. Bye everyone!